Vince, how about you? Where do you fall? Who is number one? I can't
Number
wait for
one
you to
for
say
me.
some random team that's neither of these teams.
He's gonna say the Eagles.
I know that something ridiculous is coming, and I am scared.
I have the number one.
Oh my god. What?
Okay.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yeah. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upside alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone. If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes. Bob Hope. I'm going to drink bleach.
Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year!
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.
All right. Welcome to another episode of the Birds vs. Boys podcast, powered by Branded Sports and sponsored, as always, by lovely Stateside Vodka. The Eagles keep losing, and for some reason we made this the drink of losers, which is just not fair to Stateside because it's way too good. But I would never get to celebrate with it because the Eagles don't win. So we are back in the format that we had the other night when we were recapping the disaster from Monday Night Football. Kevin is in concussion protocol, so he is out this week. So joining me again, we have producer Eddie, who is a podcast director here at Branded. And then we have producer Vince, who works behind the scenes usually on the show. So gentlemen, thank you for coming back on again. This should be a good show this week because in our Wednesday recording, Thursday debuting show, we usually get more into the NFL aspect. So that will be good for us tonight.
I'm so excited.
We are, I guess, I don't know if it's a secret. We're recording on Tuesday because, Vince's schedule is difficult. But this is going to come out on Thursday as usual, just in case something crazy happens before then, in case, someone wants to go ahead and get fired or something.
Yeah. The game's going to be already over, but take the Steelers. If you hear this somehow, take the Steelers.
Yeah, so in case there's like some random unique thing that happened, like, I don't know, a game at 3:40 on Wednesday when we usually record at 7:30 on Wednesday. Imagine that happening. So if something like that were to happen and it weren't included in this podcast and we do our power rankings and I rave about the Steelers 3 hours after the Steelers lose, let's just get that warning out ahead of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into that first then. Like I said, I'd like to get into more than the NFL and talk about more than just Jalen Hurts like we did the other night. Now, we'll get into the Eagles down the road because there's more coming out after the fallout from the game and really fallout from the season. But let's start where Kevin and I usually start. We really love getting into the power rankings, and I think he and I have the same brain. So I'm glad that we have a trio here. We might have
promise you we don't have the same brains. So
yes, there we go. Yeah. I don't
Mine's
know
not broken like your guys, so.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone wants to do a deep dive into any of our brains. So these power rankings should be interesting. So
I've decided whether or not I'm going to leave in that part where I explained how I picked Duke -7 tonight.
Yikes.
And Eddie was just like, I'm on board.
I heard of it. I did the same thing with the Masters. Stevie Stash was just giving out picks. I was like, I've never watched golf in my life. And we bet on all of these, not won.
It's like this guy seems confident in these picks. I should pick them. And I think Kevin and I were very confident in our gambling picks that we're going to get into here soon. And then some point along the way, like, it went way off the rails and we have not been good since. So we're trying to get back on track. We changed the mojo. Like, we got this trio in here. Mm-hmm. We got different viewpoints. So I think it'll be good. So Eddie, I will go to you first. We start with number 1 and go down, because we thought the Chiefs would always be number 1, so we would just get that out of the way. But let's still start with number 1. I'll go to you first, and then Vince, I'll go to you.
Yeah, I was hoping for a hot take here, but the Chiefs are the best team in football, and it's not very close.
Ooh, so that is a hot take because
is it?
I usually put the Steelers. Yeah, on this
I
podcast.
did. You know what? I knew that. I checked out the TikTok earlier today, and you went Steelers Chiefs last week, which is madness because the Chiefs are by far the best team in the league. As Patrick Mahomes threw for 200 some odd yards in the first half against the very competent Bucs defense this past Sunday.
See, this is what I wanted on the show, is that Kevin and I have synced brains where it's just, it comes out the same way without ever having to do show prep. We end up with the same 5. So I am glad that you were on. I dispute that. Like everybody knows, like I'm very high on the Steelers. A reason being where I give them a 1-up on the Chiefs is on defense. I think that they defensively might have the best unit in the league. And we'll see. Like I said, we're recording before they actually play their Week 12 game. So you could be right. By the time this comes out, I could look dumb, which is not the first or last time that is going to happen on this show. And you could look like a genius for putting the Chiefs back at 1. Vince, how about you? Where do you fall? Who is number 1? I can't wait for you to say some random team that's neither of these teams.
He's going to say Eagles.
I know that something ridiculous is coming, and I am scared.
I have the Seattle Seahawks at number 1.
Oh, my God.
What? Okay. Do you have any logic or reasoning behind why?
Yeah, I mean, they're such a good team. Who's going to be? I mean, it's going to take an elite defense to keep them under, say, 24 points.
I hate it so much here.
Great take. I agree. I wholeheartly agree. You know, you don't run into that often. They've been scoring 30 every week this week, and
that's what I'm saying. It took like an elite defense to keep them under 24 points.
The ball washing on this podcast is insane for a team with 3 wins. It's insane.
The Seahawks have 7 wins. I don't know what you're talking about.
I said 8 wins.
8 wins. Sorry,
8 wins now, barely, because they only scored 20 points the other night.
Hey, that defense let up 17 to the bum Carson Wentz, so it makes you think.
Makes you think, but
counterpoint. They held Carson Wentz to 17 points. Who knows? He may have been having a great week.
Yeah, if he played anyone else, he was putting up 21.
24 is our max.
Yeah, they're so good. They kept the Eagles' secret weapon, Jalen Hurts, on the sideline.
Yeah, they are so good that the package that we heard about for Jalen Hurts that was going to take over the game lasted 3 plays. The Seahawks were that locked in.
Listen, the Seahawks only let Hurts complete 1 pass.
Yeah. Now he did complete that 1 pass, 100% completion percentage, but yeah, I don't know. Hot seat.
Well, but they held him to 1 completion.
They held him to 1 completion, and that's impressive.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. All right. I am very scared that was just number 1 and that we have 4 spots to go with you guys. Okay. Let's go in reverse snake order. So Vince, you go again. Oh my God.
Aidan, who's your 1?
Mine's the Steelers. So Steelers every week. Like I said, they haven't played yet though. So as we were recording this, so this could very much backfire on me, but I've been riding with the Steelers all year and it won't change today. So Vince, we're going to go with our 2s. You start first, then Eddie, then me. I am just going to like clench and hope for the best here.
All right, at number 2 right now, I have the Cincinnati. I'm kidding.
The Cleveland.
No, it's the Steelers.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. This is trending towards them losing to the Ravens now.
Yeah, no, I had the Steelers at 2 as well. So
yeah, so this is you know how it goes. Anytime you're confident in anything in the NFL, it is going to backfire on you. Like anytime you've overstudied for a test, then you get on the test and you're like, oh, I can't remember the answers. And then you end up getting a C instead of the A. That's how it feels. Like we're very confident in them in these power rankings, but we're recording before they actually play because they're playing on Wednesday.
The Ravens getting players back off of COVID protocol to play tomorrow that wouldn't have been able to play if they played tonight. That probably doesn't bode well. But
also, like
the house on the Steelers,
like them benefiting from having an outbreak is just wild to think about.
I hate the NFL.
Yeah, and we'll see though. We'll see if the Ravens end up on anyone's top 5 tonight. I will say my 2. It is the Chiefs. I have no knock against the Chiefs. A lot of these teams, like I can put in a but. Like I'll be like, but there's this issue. For the Chiefs, I really don't have one. I'm just so high on the Steelers that it's kind of like the Clemson Alabama thing. Like who has the most strengths? They don't have any weaknesses. Just who has more strengths. So Chiefs are number 2 for me.
Yeah, I don't hate your Chiefs or the Steelers over Chiefs for you. They are undefeated. I mean, the Chiefs lost to the Raiders and almost lost to a Cam Newton-less Patriots. So I get it. But
and then almost lost to the Raiders again.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then the Raiders lose by $1 billion to the Falcons. Why did I say Falcons? You know where my head's at. So Falcons are bombs.
It's hard to think clearly when you're talking about the Atlanta Falcons because in Atlanta Falcons world, nothing ever makes sense.
Listen, my team ended their team. I put them out of existence. I need to take a second, think back. Like, no, Atlanta does have a football team still.
They do. Yeah, they have not been. They will never recover from that Super Bowl.
Never.
All right, I will start with 3, and we'll go that same way. So we'll go me, Eddie, Vince. My 3 is the Saints. I did not realize that they had won 8 in a row. Now, this week they played against a practice squad wide receiver playing quarterback in one of the strangest games you'll ever see. So I'm not giving them too many pats on the back, but it was week 2 of Taysom Hill. I found it interesting that it seemed to be – it was almost like the Saints – were mimicking the Broncos and they almost felt bad. Like they were running the ball a ton. They opened the playbook up last week against the Falcons and Taysom Hill's first start and almost scaled it back in week 2. And it was almost like, we kind of feel bad for these guys. Let's just run the clock out. No one gets hurt and let's get out of here as soon as we can. So there's nothing to write home about from last week, but they have won 8 in a row. So they're my 3.
Yeah. The Saints are actually my 3 as well.
I
think they're playing the Falcons, who just for somehow, like we talked about, dominated the Raiders. I think the Saints are going to win big. I'm not a Taysom Hill guy. I'm not a Taysom Hill believer. I think he's like a flex player. You can run him at running back, wide receiver, tight end, I guess, but he's not an actual quarterback. Not like Lamar Jackson's not a quarterback. Taysom Hill's actually not a quarterback.
Yeah,
that's why he has 2 passing touchdowns ever. So I do have them at 3, mostly because Drew Brees comes back next week against the Eagles.
Which is without a doubt happening. Or even more fitting. Well, he's definitely coming back against the Eagles, but it'd be even more fitting if we lost to Taysom Hill. This city losing to Taysom Hill, we have limits. You can't even put us over the Taysom Hill limit. I don't even know what'll happen. It'll be post-apocalyptic when that happens. It will be bad, but it will definitely happen.
The most Eagles thing ever would be to beat the Taysom Hill Saints and then convince yourself you're going to win the Super Bowl again.
Or at least win the division and pick at 19 instead of pick at 6 and really screw yourself over because you beat a tight end who was playing quarterback.
Right. You beat the Taysom Hill Saints next week, but the Drew Brees Saints blow you out in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Or the second round, pretty much. Yeah. That's exactly how it would go. All right, Vince, you're number 3.
Chiefs. I mean, I don't really need to say much about them. They're the Chiefs.
They're the Chiefs. Yeah. Fair enough.
The Seahawks above them. Okay.
But the Seahawks.
Who's beating them? Who's beating them?
The Chiefs.
Nope.
Maybe the Chiefs. All right. So Vince, double dip on this one and go with 4.
At 4, I got Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Nice. I will.
It just feels like they're rolling. And I mean, when Aaron Rodgers is, doing his Pat McAfee show once a week thing, and he's just, I don't know, he just seems cool again. I don't see how they could be lower than 4.
Yeah, I feel really bad for whoever has to play them next. They're really rolling.
Yep.
Oh,
I'm covering all my bases here.
All right, Eddie, I'll just skip you quick because I do have the Packers at 4, so I'll just get that out of the way, and then
I also have the Packers at 4.
Ooh, look at that in agreement! Wow.
Yeah,
all right,
crazy. Actually, that's actually wild.
I did not expect us to agree on one single one of these for a multitude of reasons. Eddie, do you want to start 5 and give us your 5th one? This is usually the spot for most debate.
Yeah, no, I know that, and that's why I have a team written down here, and I crossed them off and wrote another team. After this past Sunday, where the Patriots beat the dog shit out of the Cardinals, Patriots are my number 5 team, Super Bowl bound.
My God. Ugh.
This fucking
Here we go.
Back on the Super Bowl, baby. Cam Newton MVP. Nick Foles got a rocket attached to his leg.
It literally took the Cardinals having probably the worst 5-minute stretch where they missed the game-winning field goal and then got called for a 15-yard, actually called timeout so they could get the ball back, gave up a first down after calling the timeout, and then got called for a 15-yard penalty to give the Patriots a win. But yes, your Patriots are number 5.
Hey, Super Bowl bound, and they covered. Great teams cover. Isn't that right, Aidan?
Yes, because I know another great team that covered just the other day in one of the most ridiculous ways possible. But they did, and that's all that matters.
They covered.
But they covered. That's all that matters at the end of the day. All right,
so Patriots are number 5. I crossed out the Bills for obvious reasons.
Yes, because the Patriots are definitely the best team in the AFC East this year by far.
The 3rd team in the AFC East is better than the 1 team in the AFC East, and that's a fact.
NFC East, but yes, for sure.
AFC East.
You said the 3rd team in the AFC East is better than the best team in the NFC East, correct?
AFC East.
The 3rd. Oh,
Pats are 3rd.
Dolphins
Bills
are technically 3rd.
Dolphins are 2nd.
Or 2nd. I'm sorry. My math is all
3rd.
Yeah.
Pats are 3rd. They're better than the 1, which is the Bills. So the Bills got crossed off.
So the Bills are crossed off. Got it.
Bills
that
are
makes
bums.
Absolutely no sense. And in Eddie's world, that makes total sense. So
Pass the Super Bowl all day.
All right, Vince, on to you. Who's your number 5? I'm scared.
All right. So I live in a city in a state that actually exists, and I live outside of the land of make-believe where Eddie lives, and I kept the Bills at 5.
Crazy.
Very fair.
I mean,
out of make-believe
not
land,
fair whatsoever.
Places that might exist: Narnia, New Hampshire. And the Bills are a very worthy number 5 pick. I will say mine just to bring this full circle, because they were number 1 team by someone here. My number 5 is the Seahawks. So it is the rankings have now come full circle.
Who's beating them? That's all I'm saying.
Possibly like 8 other teams in the league.
I mean, they have 3 losses. They've been beaten.
Like who's beating them? Like probably at any given day, somebody in the NFC West.
my five pick, the Pats, were on like the goal line with time running out against them to win the game.
That's true.
It's very possible.
I really appreciated that week because it showed. I loved the Patriots fans like being like, I'll take that loss. Like, well, that was a good loss. And you being like, I remember the video with Dave Portnoy. I'm also like in the old, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm in the old school Barstool rundown where I'm standing up with the microphone like he used to do as we go through this. But they were like talking themselves to a Super Bowl run with Cam Newton. So I guess that's back on now, I guess.
No, it's for sure back on. We beat and covered. Obviously, we're underdogs, but we beat the Cardinals, which honestly, I would probably have over any team in the NFC West. I think the Cardinals are really good.
You know who didn't beat the Cardinals?
Who?
The Seahawks. That happened on Sunday Night Football. It all connects. Who is Pepe Silva?
Is that the time when Kyler Murray threw an absolute bomb to DeAndre Hopkins, who they got for a 2nd-round pick and a bum running back?
That was the one. Yeah, that was actually. Wait a second. That was against the Bills, number 5 team.
Wow.
Look at these connections.
Wow.
It is like a constellation in the sky.
That's what I was Aidan had to fuck it up for me.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, come on.
Stepped on his punchline.
I didn't step on your punchline.
You stepped on the punchline, man.
I didn't step on it. Your punchline.
The Bills got crossed off, okay? And I meant it.
No.
write them back in.
Write him in. Well, let's move on to gambling because I don't know if our little hearts can take this power rankings thing anymore.
Well,
Tell you what, I don't know if my
gambling
little heart can
update.
take.
Duke's not doing too good.
Nope.
Okay,
Down
so
12.
disclaimer before you take any of these picks, because me and Kevin have been giving disclaimers lately because we haven't been doing well. So for the show, just like in show prep, these two guys who are joining me, the brain trust that I decided to put on the show today were bored and took Duke -8. What is the score of this game as we are recording?
That's not fair. That's not fair. You're not getting the whole story.
Oh, I'm
I got
sorry.
him.
It's forward.
Vince was
Let's let
bored.
them-
Vince was bored. Looked at the first game he saw on a company that rhymes with craftings. He clicked on it, bet it, told me the pick. And I was like, yeah, no, that's a good pick. They're currently down 12.
It's the power of saying things with confidence. I confidently said Duke -8. I got them at -7, so there's still a chance.
Listen, I got him at -8, and then I'm so dumb, I doubled down, took him at 5.5. They're down 12 right now.
So that is our disclaimer. Before you take these NFL picks, we are with gambling during the week before we even get to the weekend and another slate of NFL games. So
Also, you all saw it though. I won a 17 parlay this weekend.
That's true.
You all saw it.
That is true. That is true. So maybe
like
you'll have better luck.
Too, so
Maybe
not bad.
NFL is your game, and college basketball not so much.
Yeah.
All right.
It's actually super funny. I was visiting with a friend. He recently moved back from college, and his girlfriend was visiting. This was probably a couple months ago, and I was explaining to her how I like to bet on games because he doesn't bet, and so she doesn't get it. So I was letting her know, and I was basically just like, yeah, if you give me a pick, I have to take it because what if it wins and I don't take it?
What if?
Now I'm the asshole.
Yeah,
It's Schrodinger's pick though.
That logic makes sense though. The logic makes sense.
If you take it, it's gonna lose. If you don't take it, it's gonna win.
I'd rather bet money on it and it lose and I have a reason to watch a game I wasn't going to watch. Honestly, it was Duke, Michigan State, so I probably was going to watch it anyway. But the general statement stands where if you give me a pick, I'm a degenerate. I'll probably take it.
It's like FOMO.
Don't tweet me picks.
Yeah, don't tweet Eddie at EJS_4. Definitely do not tweet him picks that he will then probably take.
Just to be clear, they're down 15 now. So they scored 3 points in the second half.
Great job by you guys.
What was the score when we took it? How many points have they scored since we took?
It was honestly, it was like 27-20. It's currently 36-51.
Oh boy! So they have scored 9 points since we started. Not even recording this podcast since we started prepping for this podcast. Yeah, so without further ado, here are our NFL picks. Which of you two would like to go first?
I mean, Vince, you do the honors, man. You've screwed me already tonight.
So, let's get him out of the way.
Here's the first pick I'm going to give Eddie. Colts -3.
Okay, say less.
He's locking it in right now.
Let me log on to my Bovada account.
Vince, do you have any reasoning aside from you are a huge Frank Reich apologist?
I don't want to. Remember what you guys said 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
Remember when you were like, "Why are?" Was it the Patriots and Texans game?
That was what it was for Kevin. For me, it was actually hilariously, ironically, the Colts. I was like, why are they favored against the Packers? And then they beat the Packers. So
why are the Colts why are they only 3-point favorites against the Texans? It doesn't make sense.
My guess would be just because recency bias, the Texans looked really good the last time they played. Actually, the last 2 times they played, they've been playing better. But, is beating the Lions, you got to be cautious there. Like, yeah, they looked good, but they were playing a dead Lions team. So you could be right. Like, they should probably be favored. They probably should cover that game. I think Vegas might be a little bit leery because of how well the Texans have played lately.
I agree.
I think they're giving away money.
We will see.
Well, they're definitely taking mine. So
that's how they balance it out. That's how they make their money. All right, Eddie, do you want to do yours next?
Sure. So I have New Orleans -3 over Atlanta. It's kind of same idea with the Colts line. I don't understand it. Atlanta stinks. I think this is big reasons. They won massively, but I still can't fathom against the Raiders last week. Taysom Hill is still supposedly playing quarterback for the Saints. I don't know. I don't see it. The Saints are really good. They have looked good with Taysom Hill the last 2 weeks. I think this is a really easy cover.
So here is the problem with the Atlanta Falcons and their existence on Earth.
They're assholes,
everything says, yes, they are assholes. So everything says Saints win. They should kill this team. They've won 8 in a row. They look like a well-oiled machine. There are times when the Atlanta Falcons are such an absolute train wreck. It is unbearable to watch. And then there are times where they look like they should be playing in a Super Bowl. And it really depends on what you need to have happen. If you need them to look like a Super Bowl champion, they are blowing a double-digit lead in the most embarrassing way. If you need them to look like the 4-7 team that they are, they're going to play like a Super Bowl champion. So I give you caution. You are treading in very violent water with riptides.
To be fair, last time they played in a Super Bowl, I really enjoyed it.
So I've heard.
I have 2 mindsets when it comes to gambling. First is go with the first thing you saw. Like go with your gut. Whatever your brain thought first is probably right sometimes.
So just like math.
I love that line. It's probably right sometimes.
And then there's other times where I do what Aidan just did, and you think about it, and then you rethink about it, and you go through like 7 different lines of thought. And this is one of the times where I think thinking about it is the wrong thing to do.
I agree.
Because if you think about it, you're going to think exactly what Aidan thought, which is a fair thing to think. But it's too obvious. Like the better football team is going to beat the worst football team, and it's not going to be close.
Yeah, but my problem, that's why you are totally right. And 99% of the time, just go with your brain and your gut and your heart and all 3 of those things. One of those things will probably figure it out. And then the other 1% is when you're betting on a game involving the Atlanta Falcons. You should probably just avoid it. Just probably don't lock that one in. Just take all of Vince's advice.
No, but this one, like this pick is another one where like they're giving away the money because the only reason it's close is because that fluke game against the Raiders, who the Raiders never ever see them. The Saints see the Falcons twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I just don't think.
And they also just played though. Falcons beat them. I don't know, guys. I'm just the lifeguard at the beach who's like, guys, the waves are a little bit choppy today. Just giving you a warning. So that I don't have to come in.
I'm a great swimmer, Aidan. I'm a great swimmer. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a lifeguard, and I was on the swim team. I wasn't good, but I was on the swim team.
But you were there.
Make it.
As long as you're down
the towel for the good ones.
Someone had to come in last place.
Someone has to come in. At least you competed.
But I finished the race. Damn it!
But you had heart.
No, I'm a big time, and it backfires constantly. So like, this is a warning. I'm a massive gut gambler. Like CEO Joe, he likes looking at trends and he looks at stats, and I'm just like, Saints of -3 against the terrible Falcons. Let me bet the rent on it.
I think we all subscribe to that logic here. We're not numbers guys. I always say this all the time. Well, I can't tell you the X's and O's of what's about to happen on that field, but I still generally have a good feel of what is going to happen just based on the fact that my eyes have probably seen it at some point in the 25 years where I've been glued to a television screen watching football.
Exactly. I hate stats, but like I know Matt Ryan can kind of throw the football. I know Taysom Hill cannot throw the football. I know the Saints are better than the Falcons. I know the Eagles stink. Saints -3.
Well, that was just a cheap shot. And we're going to get into the Eagles. You'll have plenty of cheap shots. All right, I will get into mine. Anyone who listens to this show should probably know this one because we're talking about rules of gambling right now, and I only have one rule. If the team fires their coach, you bet on that team the following week. We have a double dip this week. The Detroit Lions fired their GM and their coach. And it's not like this guy was underperforming and the guys liked him. He's a good guy, but they just couldn't get over the hump. Like Atlanta, who we were talking about, Dan Quinn seemed nice. People liked him. They fought for him at the end of last year. You cannot find one person in the Detroit Lions organization that liked Matt Patricia. Every former player tweeted something condescending after he got fired. The Detroit Lions are +3 versus the Chicago Bears, probably starting Mitch Trubisky again. I will just say it once again. My number one rule, and this is why I'm taking it. If they fire the coach, take them the following week. And I think the Detroit Lions have more inspiration this week, more than probably any team that's fired their coach recently.
Fantastic.
That's a great pick.
Nothing else to say.
All right. And that's gambling with the guys who haven't hit on a pick in 1 week. Come back next week where we probably screw it up again.
Do you want more? I have another one.
Yeah, I got more.
You guys have more
all night.
Yeah, give me yours quick, and then we'll get into I got a few Eagles points here. The name of the show is Birds vs. Boys. So I guess we have to throw in these two bad teams here, even though the rest of the league is way more fun. That was my only pick. I'm just riding with the coach thing. That's my number one rule, so that's my only pick. But if you guys have more, hit them with me.
No, it's a great pick. I would go. I saw a stat earlier today. I texted it to you guys.
I hate stats. Saw a stat earlier today.
No, hey, stats are terrible. I'm not CEO Joe, but this piqued the interest. The Titans are 8-2-1 on hitting overs this season. The over is over 54. Titans versus the Browns. I'm very confident that over hits. 54 seems like that's pretty like average. That's the standard over, I feel like, for an NFL game. For the team that hits the most overs, and the Browns, who they are 2-3 in their last 5 overs, but fuck it, we have the Titans playing. Derrick Henry's going to score 3 times. We're not going to have to worry about it. Titans over 54. Hit it.
Tell you what, Browns, another elite football team.
Yes. Yeah.
Just saying.
That's the guy who picked Seattle as the number 1 team for his power rankings. So
Browns, you know what? They really struggled on offense last week. They got it together against the Jaguars, but that week before, I don't know. They were really struggling against a good defense there. That should be a really good game, though. So I definitely see that one hitting the over. Vince, you got another one?
Yeah, I have the opposite of that game. I have Bengals Dolphins under 42.
Yeah, that could be no more opposite than those two right there.
Right. We got a big.
This is another gut game where I look at it and like, if I can look at a game and be like, who's going to score? I take the under every time. Fair. Who's going to score in this game? Bengals might give you 10. Dolphins aren't giving you 32.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. So Bengals, it's hard to see them scoring more than 10 points without Joe Burrow in any game. They did score 17 last week, but you have to remember one of their touchdowns came on a kickoff return. The other one was in garbage time when they were down 19-10. So them scoring more than 10 points is just really hard to foresee. So I do agree with you there on the under in that game. Mm-hmm. It would take like Fitzmagic getting the Dolphins to 35 points for that to even hit. It all comes down to the Dolphins. You just can't rely on the Bengals at all to get them to the over. So an under in that game is good. It's just funny that you guys picked polar opposite games.
Couldn't be more different.
And not only just in gambling, just like quality of game. You're thinking Titans, Browns. This could be a really good game this week to find out if they're contenders. And then it's like Dolphins, Bengals. Do we have to show it on Red Zone?
No one's going to be scoring, so I don't know if they're going to get much red zone action.
Not a lot. Yeah, you're not going to see the Bengals a lot on red zone anymore.
Careful, though. Respect your elders. That's the number 2 team in the AFC East.
That's true. Power rankings, so what really matters?
Number 5 in the power rankings.
Really good point. That's a fantastic
one in your heart.
I think this game, Titans, Browns, I think we might find out if either of these teams are actually good. They might both stink, but we might also find out that one of them is actually good. Because I think they're both pretty good. So maybe we'll they could. I mean, the Titans could win by 50. They still might stink. So it really is a toss up at this point.
I do agree with that. Like this is
The
very
reason
much
I like
like
your pick. The reason I like your pick is because any outcome, like they both stink, one stinks, neither of them stink. The over hits no matter what.
Every time the over hits, yeah.
As long as that hits, but I do agree. I think this is a very much, as the national media talking heads like to say, contender or pretender. So those are our gambling picks for this week. Do you guys have anything else? I still have the one. Do you guys have 3? Did you get wild this week? No.
I don't even know what the line is. Take the Cardinals though. 100% take the Cardinals. I don't know what the line is. I don't even know who they're playing, honestly. It's 3. Take the Cardinals.
Look, I am fighting for my life in fantasy right now, and I have Kyler and DeAndre. So yes, take them because it'll take me.
For Aidan's sake, take the Cardinals.
For my sake, like how we talked about the other night, the Ravens and Steelers, should they play? No. But should they actually play because I need to make it into the fantasy playoffs? Yes.
Exactly.
My chances are very much reliant on that game and then this upcoming week. So, all right, that's our gambling picks. Those are our power rankings. I'm glad that we got more in depth with the NFL this week because we got to just be honest with ourselves. It is not fun to talk about the two teams that this show is centered around because they are bad and not good. So let's talk about one of those teams.
When you and Kevin talk about how bad your two teams are, I get a little tickle in my tummy.
Oh my God. Isaiah Simmons hitting Cam Newton on that sideline was the worst thing that could ever happen for the psyche.
That was just a bad play by Isaiah Simmons.
He was still in bounds. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm not even going to get into it.
Cam slides, gets back up, and then gets tackled, and they still don't call a penalty. That guy never gets flags.
That's true. It is very ironic that he gets hit in such a dirty fashion so often, and then the one time where he's like still in bounds, they're like, well, that's personal foul. Like we finally got him. So that was pretty ironic. I do feel for the last
10 years.
Yeah, yeah, that was karma. He does get hit and takes more shots that are definitely like borderline illegal a lot of times. Yeah, so but I'm just not gonna get it. So Eagles points. I have a few of them here. I'll bounce them off you guys. So we're dealing with the fallout from Monday Night Football. It kind of went, I talked about it. I've been talking about it for fucking 6 months, ever since the season started. Like I said the other night, I think people watch the highlights and you're seeing Carson Wentz throw an interception and you say, Carson Wentz, wow, he is bad. Look at him turn the ball over. And then the score flashes and they lost. So Carson turned it over, equals bad, equals Eagles lose. And I think the national media fallout was like, holy shit, is this team a train wreck from top to bottom? Like, I think everybody realized watching that game from here on out, this is a team in the sunken place. And it's not just because the quarterback is throwing interceptions. Like, this team is very bad.
Yeah, they suck.
Thank you, Eddie. That was exactly what I expected from you.
As my expert analysis, this team is full of bums.
It reminds me, I don't know if you guys are Parks and Rec fans. I know, Vince, you are, right? And Eddie, you are too. Good. This is perfect. And you'll remember this. So it reminds me of that one episode. And I think every Eagles fan came to this realization on Monday night, and probably like even non-Eagles fans. It's the episode where Leslie loses the recount vote. And at first, like, she's just like in shell shocked. And then Anne makes her read the note that she wrote to herself. And it's like, my name is Leslie Nope. They had a recount vote and I lost. Like, every Eagles fan had to like sit there on Monday, watch that game and say, my name is so-and-so. I'm an Eagles fan and this team is bad. Like, it's no more like, well, the division's still in play. And if we just get healthy, and is it Hurts or Wentz? Like, this team is bad. Like, they are very bad. And they are flawed in several key points. And it just reminded me of that scene. Like, you had to sit down and like tell yourself, like, this is not going to happen.
I think the only win the Eagles have left on their schedule this year is the one immediately after Howie gets fired.
I think, yes, I do think they have one more win. I think they have a spoiler win left in them. The defense is not bad, so like they're always going to be in games. This week, not a freaking chance in hell. We'll get into that in a second. But like, is Washington going to be able to pull away? Is Dallas going to be able to pull away? Is Taysom Hill going to be able to pull away? I don't know. Eddie's shaking his head yes after just
100%.
ranting about how bad Taysom Hill is as a quarterback, about how he's not actually a quarterback.
Speaking of Washington, I think I'm going to say this out loud while mics are hot. I think they cover against the Steelers if that game happens.
Jesus.
It's 8.5.
That's a big line, but still.
Steelers are coming off a really short week.
I don't know. I do agree with you there, and I do think that they win this division. The Giants, I mean, the only reason I'm saying that is because Daniel Jones got hurt, and really they're going to be playing with their backup quarterback, and I don't know if they can overcome that because Daniel Jones was really turning the corner, and that was the reason for their success. Washington, though, their defense has been good all year, and we've talked nonstop about this defensive line because they've tortured our teams every week. But Alex Smith is actually playing some pretty good football. Like, this offense is somewhat competent, which is all you can really ask for in the NFC East this year. It's like them winning this division is not out of the, like, I think not that they're a lock, but you have to feel pretty confident. And even against a good team like the Steelers, like, they could hang around.
Yeah,
Alex Smith is another one of those quarterbacks we were talking about last episode that, like, this guy, where he's always like, you know what you're going to get out of him, and that's exactly what Washington needs. They have a solid wide receiver. They have a solid defense. They have, actually, I don't know if their O-line's any good or not, but
not that great.
I don't think so. The Eagles.
Oh, they're hurt, right? Yes. Their O-line's hurt.
Yes, but they weren't that good to begin with.
Yeah, I think they're just like average at best.
Yeah,
I think Alex Smith is good enough to get them by and definitely win this terrible division.
And I think Ron Rivera is a good coach.
He's a very good coach.
He's probably the best coach in the division.
I don't think people would have disagreed with that. Even like he had really good years in Carolina. You know, like
I thought firing him was a mistake. I think that rule's done really well, but I think Ron Rivera was still good enough to stay there.
I think it's one of those things where just like all good things come to an end. Like Andy Reid was great here, but like it was time to move on. Like he wanted to move on. You know, time comes for everybody except Bill Belichick. But I just think it was like that with Ron Rivera. Like maybe he was done there too. And like you want a new team and you want a new scenery, and eventually things get stale. And I just think that's what it was. It was no knock on him in terms of performance.
Right. It was a changing of the guard. Cam's gone. Ron's gone. Got to start over.
Yeah. They're bringing in Matt Rule, Carson Wentz, start fresh.
Exactly.
Yep, exactly. I cannot wait. I was thinking about this today. Panthers jerseys are cool. Actually, let me get into this point. Thank you for leading me in, Vince. Great job by you.
You're welcome.
This is the other point I wanted to bring up today. There was an Athletic article today about Carson Wentz. I'll pull it up here because there were some screenshots. I don't pay for the Athletic because I'm poor, but somebody did the Lord's work and screenshotted the entire article so that I could see it. So it was basically about the Eagles' dysfunction and Carson Wentz and the possibility of this marriage not working out. And a lot of like they interviewed anonymously a bunch of executives and basically said things along the lines like, if he went to the Colts, he would be a new man if he was reunited with Frank Reich, which is what we talked about. And then the next screenshot, I'll just go in terms of screenshots of this person doing the Lord's work and making sure I don't have to pay for it. The next one talked about Jared Goff and Carson Wentz switching spots. And the quote that this executive had was that Jared Goff kind of lives in the shadows where the Rams are good. They're in a good system, so they're always winning. It's not really because of him. It's just because like he has playmakers around him, and Sean McVay has a really good offensive set. They run the ball well. He had Todd Gurley in his prime. If you reverse those roles, Carson Wentz is probably in a better spot, which is another thing that we talked about last night. Mm-hmm. And then Here's the one that stuck out with me the most. So actually, I'll get into this one because I have a rant on the last one, but this is exactly what we talked about the other night, correct? Like this Athletic article was just pulled from our brains.
Mhm.
No, they clearly listened to the podcast and then wrote this article. 100%.
Yeah, so we shouldn't have to pay for this content, is what you're saying.
Right. They should be paying us, if we're being completely honest.
Mm-hmm. We should have got some writing credits or something like that.
Something.
But yeah, I mean,
I know me, Aidan, and Vince need new jobs. So
yeah, so the Athletic, if you are hiring,
They are not.
we are available.
yeah, no, they're actually firing. So
Yeah, they are famously
that's true.
unhiring.
Yes, they are.
well, you
unhiring.
still owe us money, Athletic. Okay, we don't work for
will
you. Cut us a check.
Yeah, we'll be cheap hires. But yeah, so I was thinking about that and just like the Frank Reich reunion and how I really don't like Colts uniforms, but I'm still buying a Carson Wentz Colts uniform. You're shaking
Bad
your head.
take.
No,
Colts uniforms are awesome. Colts
you think
uniforms
they're
are awesome.
cool? Are they cooler
Yeah.
than the Carolina Panthers?
Nope.
Yeah, well,
Thank you.
I like basic uniforms.
That's not a great argument.
All right, hold on.
I
a
know,
second.
I'm not saying-
this is the barometer right here. Vince, old Toronto Raptors uniform or new Toronto Raptors uniform?
Okay. That's obviously the old one. But
Oh, there it is. The Colts uniform.
but it's only because they had a guy named Vince wearing it. That's the only reason.
Okay.
That's
Old
true.
Atlanta Hawks jersey, new Atlanta Hawks jersey.
Neither.
That's a terrible take.
I
All right,
like
continue
the
with your
Colts-
NFL.
I like
show,
the
then.
Colts jerseys. I like the Raiders jerseys. I like on the fence. I hate the Eagles jerseys.
Oh.
I hate the Eagles jerseys.
No, Eagles jerseys stink unless there's the black ones.
No,
I just don't like them.
you don't like
I
the
hate the
green?
Hunter green. I hate Hunter green. I hate it. Midnight green. That's what it is. I hate it.
What's their throwbacks? What green is the throwbacks?
Kelly green.
Kelly green.
Terrible.
Oh, dude.
Absolutely disgusting.
People go to war for those Kelly green uniforms. I'm surprised
Okay.
that you said that.
I've
People
gone to war
love
with
them.
Philly before. I've done it before. I'll do it again. Kelly green uniforms, garbaggio,
I don't
Mm-mm.
dislike. I'm not
The
one of those
helmet's
people.
just the wing.
trash.
You don't like the wing?
No, I love it. I love
Oh, you
those.
love
I
the wing.
love those uniforms. Yeah,
Okay, so you're one of the people who's like very much for the Kelly green uniforms.
yeah. But I'm the opposite for basketball though. Like I want the Sixers black jerseys back, even though they're way less basic than what they have now.
You don't like the new black ones. For New Philadelphia?
Yeah,
Maybe
I like the New Zealand Sixers new jerseys.
There were
Yeah.
like 8 blogs about those jerseys on the website. I've
That-
had enough.
That did not go well in Philadelphia. Howie Roseman is begging the Sixers to do another uniform release because that'll be the only thing that saves him from just getting tarred and feathered this week. But yeah, so I was thinking about that and just like the harsh reality that I'm probably gonna have to buy a Carson Wentz jersey and another uniform, and just like hoping he goes to a team with a cool uniform. And I just don't think the Colts are that. I just think that Indianapolis as a city is boring. Their jerseys kind of match that boring feel. But that's really what that article was about. It was basically, and I'm going to get into the last screenshot that I had because I thought it was the most interesting, but it was very much an article just being like setting up for this possibility that this is over.
I mean, I think it's a little more than a possibility.
Well, the way it was written, it wasn't like Carson Wentz, Eagles, it's over. It was like, here's what people are saying. Other executives who are going to have a chance to land this guy. How does the rest of the league feel about him? Because there is a very solid chance that the rest of the league is going to have the opportunity to come after him. So it was written from the sense, like a politically correct way of saying, the Titanic is sinking. How do you feel about the life rafts on the Titanic? Would you float for very long? That's like how it was like. It's like before the Titanic sinks, if somebody did an interview and was like, how do you feel about the lifeboats on the Titanic? Like, do you think that they would stay sturdy? Do you think you have enough of them just in case they run into an iceberg? Like, weird case scenario. Like, what if it runs into a huge iceberg and the boat sinks? Like, that's kind of where we're at with this article.
Frank Reich isn't going to make a lifeboat out of it. He's going to build an entire Carnival cruise ship out of what sinks from the Titanic.
I think the most likely scenario is at the end of the year, Howie and Doug are fired. And then at the end of next year, Carson is traded.
I agree. I just think like if you have semi-competent like front office leadership, like he wouldn't need to be traded because like you'd surround him with talent. Like,
yeah, but you don't have that.
I know, but that's the problem. But like you said, Howie Roseman would get fired after this year, and then you would have that leadership there.
Well, you're trusting Jeffrey Lurie to make the correct hire.
I trust Jeffrey Lurie more than I trust. I mean, he's a totally fine owner. There are far worse owners. He's had Howie Roseman for a while.
Yeah, guy stinks.
He does stink. I mean, he did build the championship. Like they won a Super Bowl. Like since the Eagles were not a good franchise for a very long time, and then Jeffrey Lurie took over, hired Andy Reid, and we did well and went to a bunch of NFC championships, and we've won a Super Bowl under his tenure. That was not even, and like Lincoln Financial Field's a great stadium. Like he's done a lot. I trust him to do the right thing more than I would trust like a lot of guys. Like if Kevin's here and I'm like, you think Jerry Jones is going to make the right decisions this offseason? He's going to tell me no. And like everyone can see this.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry Jones is terrible. So,
yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Is like there are a lot of people like that. Like there's a lot of owners where you're like, I cannot trust this management to make the right decision. I know in Chicago, they want them to sell the team. Like there's a lot of like way worse options.
I think Chicago wants every team to get sold.
Yeah, they do that with the Bulls. Like I think the White Sox might actually have like
they were decent last year, but I still think he'd probably sell it. The guy who owns the Bulls owns the White Sox.
Yes, that's what it was. That's what it was. They wanted him to sell the White Sox because he owns the Bulls, and they were like, just get him out of here.
Right.
That's what it was. Yeah, correct.
And instead of selling the team, he was like, nope, I'm hiring Tony La Russa.
So not going to bet at all. They just had not happening again.
Yeah.
Who then immediately got a DUI.
That and then the best part of the whole DUI story is just like, do you know who I am? Tony. No. No one under 50 knows who you are, dude.
Yeah. I'm a baseball manager from 10 years ago. How do you not know who I am?
I was semi-confident 25 years ago.
That is such a celebrity thing to do, and I wish I was famous enough to pull that off one day.
Oh, I would do it.
Do you know who I am? And it would never work.
I might do it tomorrow, just cause. I might do it at work. Let's see if I can get fired by the end of the week.
Athletic. We really, really need hire.
You already owe us money for the article you wrote.
We already did the articles. You might as well bring us on now. Speaking of the article, I'm going to get back because this is the last screenshot here. And I'll probably get into my final rant, and then I have one other thing on the Eagles. Actually, two more things. So this Athletic article says, using a second-round pick on a former national champion Hurts was a bold move by Philadelphia, and a source with knowledge of the Wentz-Eagles dynamic said Wentz was not exactly thrilled with the pick. You fucking think? Like, what inside source was it? Your brain that functioned like a normal human being? Yeah, no shit he didn't like the pick because he had to carry these bottom of the barrel bums to the playoffs last year. And then you turn around and he's like, hey, maybe we should get some competent guys with opposable thumbs who can run fast. And this front office was like, backup quarterback, poor man's Taysom Hill. How about that? Like, you're telling me that he wasn't thrilled with this decision, that he wasn't over the moon, that you brought in a guy who didn't even start on his own college team? You mean on the first day, it wasn't like the video of those two kids running to each other and hugging? You're telling me Carson Wentz doesn't hold his hand at practice? I don't know. You're telling me like just now, people are realizing, hey, maybe he would have been pissed off about this dumbass decision.
Calling him a former college champion feels generous.
I mean, he played like a half that game.
Ooh, which
he
half?
got benched and then they won after he came out of the game.
Listen,
That's why
guys,
they won. Because he's a champion because he took his contribution to that game was the fact that he got taken out of the game. Like they don't win that game unless he gets benched. And that was the guy. They were like, Carson, here's this huge contract, so we're going to be anchored with you. Like, till death do us part. We're going to give you this much money. And then turn around and bring in this guy whose biggest contribution to college football was getting benched in the national championship. And then, like Carson Wentz, they're like, well, I can't figure out why this guy isn't thrilled with this decision. Like, are you kidding me?
So
I think me and Eddie just had the same thought.
I don't know if we did. 2 things. 1, Jalen Hurts not only got benched, but the year after, he also got destroyed by LSU. And I was at that game, and I had a great time, and I will not forget it, okay?
But
that's
you also
most of the reason why I'm a big Jalen Hurts guy is because I was at that game. I had a swell time. I was talking shit to the Oklahoma band, and they threatened to beat me up. It was it was one of the greatest nights ever. 2, I don't know if Carson is more mad that they drafted his backup with a 2nd-round pick, or that they got him no actual competent receivers or offensive linemen with that pick.
I think it's very much a combination of both. Like, instead of helping me out, you drafted my backup who's going to come in for 3 plays, contribute nothing, and then bring me back in for 3rd and long. And he's not thrilled? Well, I'll be. I can't believe it.
So we didn't have the same thought. But like they brought in a guy with the same like complex that Carson has. I know Carson didn't get benched, but Carson Wentz is a Super Bowl champion the same way Jalen Hurts is a college football champion.
True.
Fair. And they're like, here's 2 guys with the same complex. Let's put them in a room together, see how that works out.
Yeah, it's like when you go to the beach and you build like a little stand circle and throw 2 crabs in. Does it ever work out well? Like, when have these quarterback dynamics like ever worked out? Like, it's just throughout history, it has never worked. And just to go back to this, it is wild. And that leads me to my next point about the Eagles as we get down the home stretch here of me bitching about the Eagles. Orlando Scandrick also chimed in today.
Of course.
Because of course. So let me pull his comments up because he actually made great points. And this is where we are at. Orlando Scandrick is the voice of reason now. How the hell did we end up here? How did things get so bad that I'm like, you know what, Orlando Scandrick, you scumbag, you are actually spot on. So here's what he said. You can bench Carson Wentz, you can fire Dougie P, but you still got the same little weasel snake picking the players. He has been god-awful. He's not wrong, and I can't believe that I have to agree with him.
Yikes.
To be fair, though, he's not wrong, but 5 minutes ago you did just say Howie Roseman built a Super Bowl winning champion. So he's right, but he brought you your title.
He did bring us a title.
His thing is working with the cap. He had a rookie quarterback who had they had no money tied up in. He got lucky on every free agent he signed that year.
Yeah.
And he hasn't hit on a single free agent since, and he can't draft.
Even then, like his whole thing, like he does serve a purpose. He's always been very good with the cap and still is. And like that previous year, that was the last time he drafted a Pro Bowl player in Carson Wentz. Like 2016 draft, like you got Isaac Seumalo and you got Carson Wentz and you got Jalen Mills. Like you got contributors on your team. And then, but he hasn't hit since, like on anything. So like,
look at just today. Waived Will Parks, free agent signing that was supposed to be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Released Sharif Miller, 4th-round pick from 2019.
Yeah. Like it's almost hard. Like we're talking about how bad we are at gambling. This is the GM version of gambling. Like that free agency is like gambling. Drafting is like gambling. Like it very much as you think a guy can be a sure thing, sometimes they don't turn out to be sure things. He is on the greatest cold streak of all time. He just can't do anything right. He cannot hit on a free agent. They didn't hit on any, like really the past 2 years, and they haven't drafted well in half of a decade. So it was a very funny insult. I don't know if I agree with the insult. I think that was a little bit over the top, but I do agree with the main point of the argument from Orlando Scandrick.
Yeah, and that's where we're at. We're agreeing with him.
Has ever done is given me enjoyment in life. So I don't really know much about Orlando Scandrick. I just know that like he pisses Dallas and Philly fans off, and he's kind of funny on Twitter sometimes. I'm all in on the guy. I hope the Pats sign him. Fuck it, let's run it back.
No, because then here's what he does. So like you do not want him on your team because he's the guy who comes in. He's just a rat. He is the definition of a rat. Like people get on to Tekashi 6ix9ine. Orlando Scandrick is the Tekashi 6ix9ine of the NFL because is his quality good? No. Like, is Tekashi a good rapper? No. Is Orlando Scandrick a good football player? No. But do you hear about them all the freaking time? Yes. Are they always on social media? Yes. Do they bring up good points? No, except for today. Are they rats? Yes. Like Tekashi 6ix9ine and Orlando Scandrick are the same people, but just one has rainbow hair and the other has less tattoos.
Yeah. Well, that's a great reason to not sign Orlando Scandrick, though. Never mind. Bill didn't say it.
Not a
chance. Go sign him.
I'll come in and be like, yo, this Belichick guy's a dick. I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll personally evict him.
Yeah.
I'll help him move.
I think that's the Orlando Scandrick experience. Like he would come in for 2 weeks. You'd only need him for 2 weeks. And then he'd be on first things first. And you're like, like I was in the locker room and the guys just don't respond to Bill Belichick anymore. Like he's just not a leader of men.
That's basically just what Boston radio is. It's just like, I don't think they like Bill anymore. Well, I don't think they ever like Bill, to be honest with you. He's kind of a dickhead, but he wins you titles. So we put up with it.
Yeah. So it sounds like Boston radio goes a lot like Philadelphia radio.
It's terrible. It's so bad.
Just a cesspool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. So yeah, Orlando Scandrick. And then the last point I had on the Eagles for today, because it's just kind of like our preview look ahead. So we do play the Packers this week, which is hilarious. Because we are in this stretch now, and we brought up the Saints as well. We're in this stretch where we are going to keep playing primetime games again and again and again. And it is lining up perfectly with the fact that we are at a downhill spiral. And it reminds me of daylight savings time, where like in the back of your head, this bad thing is coming. Like, it's going to get dark, but you put it back there and you forget. That's what these primetime games have been like. And then one day you go outside at 3:42 and the sun is setting and you're like, God damn it, I totally forgot this was about to happen. That's what it's like with the Eagles playing primetime games right now. You're like, in the back of your head, you always knew the schedule was going to be tough teams on primetime TV. And now we're at that point in the schedule. You're like, God damn it, it's dark at 4:05 again.
So you lost against the Seahawks.
Yes.
You're going to lose against the Packers.
It could very much be like the Bears Sunday night game. Like 41-17 is not out of the question.
Yeah, no, like you might get blown the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
It is in Green Bay too, like we talked about last night, which does not help your cause.
Never.
And then I just want to go over the rest of the schedule. Let me just before we move on at all. I pulled it up. I might as well. You have the Saints after that, which Drew Brees will most likely be back for that game. It is in Philly. I don't think it actually matters, but you're gonna lose that game. The week after that, you have the Cardinals. You're gonna lose that game.
I cannot wait for that game because the Cardinals offense is just like light years ahead. They are playing in 2035 and the Eagles are playing in 2006.
I think the Cardinals offense is what Howie thought he was putting together when he put together the Eagles offense.
Yes, that is exactly right. But they could not be more of a stark contrast at this point.
Okay, and then week after that, you have the Cowboys in Dallas, and then you have Washington.
Mm-hmm.
So you might not get a win until after Christmas or until 2021 if you get another win at all. So because we have two Eagles fans here, out of those games remaining, how many wins are on that schedule? And then at what point does Doug get fired?
Okay, Vince, I'll let you go first.
All right, so the 2 wins are Dallas and the game after Howie Roseman gets fired. I don't know what game that is. Hopefully they're not the same game.
Because then it's only 1 win.
Right.
I think Howie gets fired before Doug. If they fire Doug before Howie, they're making a mistake.
I totally agree with you.
I think their best option is fire Howie, bring in a new GM, see if Doug and Carson can work next year, and then fire Doug after that if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, this seems like a very simple structure. It's like Doug Peterson, like we compared it to the Sixers the other day and like how, but they also fired their coach. But I think this coach has proven that he can win and has good traits, and Brett Brown, and like it was over. The only reason I could see Doug leaving is because he wants to leave. But I think the very simple structure is this, and then I'll get into how many games that they'll win. The structure is this. They need a new GM. They should clean house in the front office. They could leave the coach, but they need to bring in an actual offensive staff and an offensive coordinator. It can't just be offensive czar and Doug Peterson, and then Carson Wentz actually being the guy who coaches the guy on the sidelines. So that's the structure that I see. And like we've talked about, I just don't even know if they could get rid of Carson Wentz if they wanted to. I think people would trade for him, but it is a lot of money. So I think they'd at least be around for another year. Now, in terms of games that they could win, I think it'll be 2. I think you're going to see them go on a disastrous losing streak here against some really good teams. They are going to get blown out against the Packers. They're going to keep it close against Taysom Hill because I don't know if Drew Brees will be back. Like he'll be right on the edge. Like, it could be one of those games where he could have come back if it was a playoff game, but it's not. They're playing the freaking Eagles.
Right. Okay.
And then they're going to lose to the Cardinals in what will be one of the funniest games I will ever watch, because the Cardinals do not play the same style of offense that the Eagles play. And by style, I mean like they actually score points.
That might be a bigger blowout than the Packers game this Sunday.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Like that and it'll be bad. It'll be very bad. And then I think they win the last 2 games of the season, because just when all hope is lost and you're talking yourself into a top 5 pick, will these idiots win 2 games and jump from 5 to 11 in the draft order by winning 2 meaningless games and then probably knocking Washington out of the playoffs by winning in the week 17 against them. And the Giants will go to the playoffs because we beat Washington week 17, and that win gets us nowhere but pick 11 instead of pick 4 in the draft order. Nothing I've been more sure of than that. Like that order, sequence of events. I am so ready for that to happen.
I think the only thing that would be more Eagles than losing the rest of the games would be to win enough games to make the playoffs, and you go from a 5 to 7 pick to like a 20 pick.
Yes.
That would be, is either you lose every single game the rest of the year, or you somehow make the playoffs, get blown out against an actual playoff team, and you get the 20th, 19th pick for some reason.
Yeah. Yep. Or
you mean what happened the last 2 years?
Yeah.
Like exactly what happened the last 2 years.
That's basically, yeah. Only because Dallas might be more competent than you, and it would be so perfect for the Eagles to win week 17 and make the playoffs. Yeah. And absolutely fuck themselves, by the way. Yeah. Like that's the worst case scenario.
Like you can see that coming a mile away. Like they are winning one of those NFC East games. Probably both. Like you can just see that coming a mile away. Or the most Eagles thing of all, we go full tank mode. Everyone's on board. Like, all right, we're gonna be fine. Like the window is closed. We needed to rejuvenate this roster. And then blowing your top 5 pick and like not drafting Jamar Chase. And then he becomes like the leading receivers in the league being Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, Jamar Chase. Like that is the other option here in this scenario. Like your top 3 receivers in the next decade are going to be those 3.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. So I think, Vince, you said you think Doug is going to be the coach next year, right?
I think he should be, not because he earned it. I just think don't change too much at once.
Okay.
Keep as much in place. Try to keep it as, stable as you can. Fix the actual problem, and then see if everything else kind of fixes itself.
See, yeah, that makes sense. I feel like they will probably do that, but the Chiefs' offensive coordinator is probably going to be looking to be a head coach next year.
That is the thing. Like with each passing week, it's becoming more and more hard to defend Doug Peterson by the week, that you can't even look like. I mean, he's been a great coach, not just the Super Bowl season. Like these other seasons, he has been a good coach. But this year, with each passing week, it's become so hard, and the decisions don't make any sense. And there's just no rhyme or reason. And if he's there, and he's as good as coach as everybody thinks, like you just can't pass that up opportunity. Another name is Lincoln Riley. Like I just mentioned, playing the Cardinals. Vince is shaking his head no, but I think if he makes the jump, like, do you make that call? I don't know. Like this has been a team that trends to really liking offensive-minded head coaches, and maybe they don't pull the trigger because they're scared of the curse of Chip Kelly and bringing in an offensive guru from college. But it is a hot name that a lot of people would be after if he makes that jump. And the league is trending that way, the type of offense that Oklahoma runs.
I think if it looks like Eddie, what's his name? Do you know his name?
Who?
The Chiefs offensive coordinator.
Eric Bieniemy.
Bieniemy. I wanted to see how bad.
I have no idea how to say his last name. That was a complete guess.
It was close.
There's so many M's in there. I don't know what's happening.
It's a jumble of NAM and.
Before you go, Vince, he's like a big dude. He was like a stud running back in college. Like that makes no sense in my head.
I can see
Staley.
Yeah.
I think if it looks like he's definitely like going to get hired, I think that's the only reason you fired Doug, is to go get him.
I agree.
It feels like a Brett Brown situation.
I told you we were in the same exact trajectory. It's like, yeah, Brett Brown was a good guy, but he just didn't have enough. And it's like Doug Peterson is a great guy, like we love him, but like this marriage has ended, and a better option is out there. Like Doc Rivers, like, there were very few names that you were like, okay, would this be a better option than what you had? And they ended up getting one that was better than what they had. And that's kind of the same logic applies here. Like Doug Peterson is good, but you could have a great option out there.
Yeah, I don't think you blow it up for a chance at like maybe Lincoln Riley will be okay. I don't think you blow it up for that. I think Eric Bieniemy has a good chance of being a really good head coach. I think you blow it up for that.
I totally agree. And I think you could leave Wentz in place if you bring in Lincoln Riley. Hey, it's a reunion with Jalen Hurts. So,
you know what? I wasn't in on Lincoln Riley. I'm coming around on it. Now I'm coming around.
Now you're coming around. You're kicking the tires.
Is Wentz Jimmy Butler?
Oh yeah.
Are you gonna lose Wentz because you kept the coach too long?
Yeah.
Okay.
It could very much trend that way. Not just the coach. Not just the coach. Like this was, again, the front office is the decision-making brain of the organization. Like the coach is like, if we're a human body anatomy, the coach is like the heart, like the players can be your arms. The brain is the front office. The brain of the Sixers front office was Ed from Ed, and Eddie. That was the mental capacity that they had. So, and it appears the Sixers are in the same fashion. So we'll see. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, I think we ended it on slightly more positive note.
I mean, since Kevin's not here, I have one Cowboys point.
Okay, I love that. I love that.
I cannot wait.
I do appreciate this as an Eagles fan, that we're over an hour here runtime, and at the very end we're like, all right, I guess we should throw in a Cowboys question. Like, let's just throw them a bone.
I think they have a shot against the Ravens.
Oh God.
Vince.
Don't ask me why, because I don't have an answer.
Now I have to bet it.
This is the
I know.
same logic that you just an hour ago applied to the Duke game. What is Duke losing by at this point?
They're down by 7, but there's 7 seconds left in the game.
Okay.
So not dead yet.
There's a chance.
You literally just applied the same logic an hour ago. You're like, you know what? Duke -8. I don't know why.
I don't
I'm
know.
just going to do it.
To be fair, Mississippi Valley State, 6 minutes left in the first half. They are only down by 7.
Ooh.
So,
that
but also to be fair, Providence won by 1. I had them at -4.5. So just keeping me on the same level playing field. I have much more money on this Duke game than anything else too, by the way. So shout out Vince twice.
Great job, Vince. So take that with an air of caution that he really likes the Cowboys against the Ravens. But if everybody knows how I feel against the Ravens, though, about the Ravens, like the Cowboys have a chance because the Ravens will be bitching and moaning about whatever problem that came the way that week. Like, oh, we're going to be on a short week. We only had 6 days to prepare instead of 7. Oh, no, there was no one there to tie our shoes today. So we had to run down the field with our shoes untied. They're the biggest group of crybaby frauds I've ever seen. Like, they are just like, ugh. I'm sorry, because I don't have anything against Lamar Jackson. I don't have anything against anybody on that team, and I think they actually draft well. But I'm just so tired of the excuses that if they go down 3-0 against the Cowboys have a real chance because the Ravens will just fold up shop and go home.
Change your tune real quick.
Yeah.
Eagles put up a decent fight.
If we ran a semi-decent 2-point conversion, we probably win that game.
If your coach was an absolute moron, you probably win that game.
Yeah. Well, here we are.
Lincoln Riley, here we come.
If our GM could have put together a decent team, we probably would have won that game.
Well, Vince, you can't have everything, okay?
I'll take one very good thing. One or the
You
other.
want a good quarterback? Coach or GM. Pick one or none.
GM. I think I've been pretty clear about that. I want a new GM.
Get us a new GM, please. All right. Do you guys have anything else today? That was great Cowboys talk.
That's all I had.
Great. All right. Thanks for talking very much birds and then also the boys.
I had the opposite. I think I had the opposite Cowboys point of what Kevin would have had, like the opposite energy. Kevin would have been like, I don't know, they're going to get blown out by the Ravens. In the back of his mind, knowing there's a damn good chance that they have a decent game against the Ravens.
Oh, yeah.
No, Kevin is just like, they're going to lose the rest of the games. They get a top 5 pick, blow it up. But in the back of his head, it might be the Eagles in Week 16. It might be the Ravens too.
He beat the Ravens. I don't know.
Yeah, might be the Ravens.
Have a chance at first place? I don't know. Washington's good now. Can they stay healthy? Daniel Jones is out.
Yeah, they might have a top 5 pick, or we're not dead yet. Like, we can still win this division.
Drew Brees he might not be 100% in the playoffs. I don't know. Might steal one.
Each week it teeters on whether they want to tank and whether they want to win this division and win a first-round playoff game. It changes by the quarter.
It's going to be Week 17, and Kevin's going to be like, I don't know if we could squeak in there. I'd love to get a win.
I'm the same way with the Pats. I tweeted before the game this past Sunday. You know what? It's way less stressful that the Pats stink. Guess what? They won.
Now they won. Now they're top 5 in the league according to
I was all in just like
power rankings.
Let's get a decent pick. Bill hasn't had a really good pick in a while. Let's see what we can get. Hold on. Super Bowl bound? Question mark?
Super Bowl? Probably not. Investors? Possibly you. All right. We're done for the day. Thank you guys for filling in while Kevin is gone. We'll see Kevin possibly back next week. It'll be an interesting schedule again, like we've been talking about with the Ravens Cowboys game. So we'll have a lot to dive into. Thank you to Stateside Vodka. Thank you to everyone with a functioning brain who knew Carson Wentz wouldn't be thrilled that they took a backup quarterback in the second round.
Shout out the Athletic. They need the help.
Thank you to the Athletic for hiring us unofficially. And just leave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or I guess you can't do reviews on Spotify, but just like say, you could text us and be like, hey, if I have Spotify and I would give you 5 stars if I could. That'll do.
Also YouTube.
And also YouTube, please.
And DM me picks that I'll waste money on.
Yes. Also, most importantly, please leave us 5 stars. But even more importantly, please give Eddie a gambling pick that probably won't work out, but he probably will still bet anyway. Thank you for
help us enable Eddie's gambling problem.
Just like put a bunch of exclamation points to make it seem like you're confident in the pick.
Yes. Give one stat. Doesn't have to make any sense. Just give him a stat to back up your pick, and it'll probably happen.
It doesn't even need to be true. I won't fact check it.
And that
Seton Hall is really good on Tuesdays after 7:00.
Yeah. Say less.
That is gambling in a nutshell. All right, we are good for today. Another episode of Birds vs. Boys in the books. We will be back next week, and the Tankathon is on.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds vs. Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things.
I got 2 phones.
Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone. If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes. Bob Hope. I'm going to drink bleach.
Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.